Let's think about this. Many growers fear yield drag when moving over, right, to a regenerative practice, John. We all know, and we talked about this a little bit before, but if you would explain how to navigate the first 1 to 3 years of transition, if you could lay that out, I think that's the most important part, John, because I think that's what's holding some of these guys back.
The art and the science of regenerative agronomy that delivers an immediate ROI is figuring out how to navigate providing an on-ramp for biology and biological nutrition while simultaneously providing an off-ramp for electrolyte nutrition. That's it. That's the fundamental bottom line, is figuring out how you balance those two pieces. And I'll frame it in terms of nitrogen management on a corn crop, because that's a common crop and a common scenario that people can easily relate to. You can adapt the information to all types of other contexts.
Perfect.
So, traditional nitrogen management, let's just say for the sake of discussion that in a particular given region, soil type, crop, rainfall patterns, and so forth, that it's common to apply 200 units of nitrogen to a corn crop, the majority of that being pre-plant. Perhaps it's fall applied, perhaps it's spring applied, but it's all applied either at planting or before planting. That type of environment, you've shut down any opportunity for microbial collaboration with that plant, because you have this abundance of free nutrients and free electrolytes in the soil solution. So the way to manage that and to produce a different response is to time the applications differently and to change the amounts to only match peak crop needs and peak crop demand when the crop actually needs it. So we change the applications in time and we change them in efficiency. So
Sure.
here's an example. I'll add one more thought, one more frame of reference, and that is depending on who you listen to, which university, which part of the country, the nitrogen requirement to grow a bushel of corn is anywhere from 1 to 1.3 pounds per bushel of corn. And yet there are many biological farmers who are using cover crops, or perhaps they're using manure, compost applications, they're experimenting with different things. It's very common to get to only be able to account for 0.65 to 0.75 pounds of nitrogen per bushel of corn. And there are many growers who are pushing that envelope even further, and they're still producing average to better than regional average yields with only a half a pound of nitrogen per bushel of corn that they can account for. So there might be some coming from biological nutrition that they're not accounting for, but that's what they can account for in the system. So the way that I'll just give an example of a type of recommendation that we would make in our consulting at AEA when I'm running completely blind. I know nothing. I know nothing about the soil context, the crop context, the history, the irrigation. this is a starting point. This is a template and a starting point from which to adapt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would start with 40 units of nitrogen maximum at planting in the form of ammonium and nitrate, no urea, or limited urea. I shouldn't say no urea, but I don't want 100% of it urea. And I'm making that caveat because everything else for the rest of the season I want as urea. And so there's some reasons for that. I won't go into the detail in the time that we have here, but
Yes.
Then I want to add, and that nitrogen is ideally applied at planting or before planting.
Sure.
And I want it off to the side of the seed, not in the furrow. Preferably it can be strip tilled. It can be in a 2x. I don't want it any closer than a 2x2. I would prefer it even be farther away than a 2x2, but that's the closest I want it to be. And I want that we've put together what we call a nitrogen efficiency program. People can find it online, but the short version is we combine that nitrogen with sulfate in some form, either ammonium sulfate or thiosulfate, whatever makes sense for the given application. We want a minimum of a 10-to-1 nitrogen to sulfur ratio. And then we also add humic substances, humicarb at 3% of the solution, and we add rebound molybdenum at a pint per acre. And the reason for those things is it drives and accelerates the conversion of the applied nitrogen into microbial nitrogen. So bacterial cells are now holding it. And that means that it is available, but no longer water soluble. It doesn't leach. And so we're putting on a smaller dose And my preference would be to put on less than 40 pounds. I would like to go down to as little as 10 to 20, but I'm not comfortable making that recommendation without more information and knowing what the history is and where the soil is coming from.
That's perfect.
Then the second application would be somewhere between V3 and V5, depending on soil context and continuity. An additional 40 pounds, side dressed, fertigated, top dressed, whatever fits the application or the farming context. And this 40 pounds is again combined with our nitrogen efficiency program. And I want a minimum in these two applications, I want a minimum of 25 pounds of sulfur per acre.
Yeah.
And we know that we can count the first 25 pounds of sulfur, you can count as the equivalent of a nitrogen unit in terms of the crop response that they get. So then we've now applied a total of 80 pounds, and then I want to come back and plan for 2 foliar applications. And this is different from what lots of farms have been doing historically and extremely valuable. So I want 2 foliar applications, the first one around tasseling, the first one around R1. Those 2 foliar applications will each be 10 units of nitrogen as melted urea, as low biuret urea. There've been a number of farmers that we've worked with, people who've done interesting work, documented their research quite well. Our rule of thumb is that at minimum, most conservatively, every pound of nitrogen that is applied as a foliar, and in terms of foliar urea, will produce the same crop yield response as 4 pounds of nitrogen applied to the soil.
Gotcha.
At best, that's the most conservative. We've even had some crops go all the way up to 1-to-7 ratio.
Yeah.
So now we're doing these 2 applications, and ideally we also like to add some of this nitrogen efficiency program to these foliars as well. So now you think about what I just described. We did 40 units of N, 40 units of N, 10 and 10. We've got 100 units of N and 25 pounds of sulfur. With that application, you will get a greater crop yield and higher quality than you will with 200 pounds of nitrogen applied up front. And your costs, if you figure in the application costs and for additional further applications, you figure in the nitrogen efficiency program, your cost per acre is going to be roughly a wash. But you've applied half the quantity of N. Now that's the first half of the coin. You now have an off-ramp for nutrition, for electrolyte nutrition. Now the next step is the on-ramp for biology. Now you add BioCoat Gold as a seed treatment. Perhaps you add another microbial inoculant in the furrow with your starter. And that is the on-ramp for biology piece. And then you do that year 1. Year 2, you come back based on what you've learned and you adapt. Instead of 40 units of N, maybe you're now down to 10 units of N in the starter and 30 units side dress.
But usually, like if you're going to hone something in, you're going to be taking soil samples, throughout this.
What I'm giving you is a template starting point. All of these starting point recommendations would be revised and adapted based on SAP analysis or soil analysis results. Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, let's hear it. So keep on going, buddy. So we're on year 2 now.
So at year 2, you're looking at further reducing usually.
Okay.
Again, there's context dependent, but usually you're looking at further reducing the nitrogen applications at planting. And perhaps putting more in the side dress. And that's actually getting the nitrogen number as low as possible at planting is actually quite important.
Sure.
We don't want it at 0 in most cases. We want a touch of nitrate because nitrate really drives the synthesis of a whole range of different plant phytohormones, the cytokinins, the gibberellins, the auxins, etc. So if we want to develop this large root system and plant biomass very quickly, we want a small dose of nitrates.
Sure.
Key word being small. We want it's like you can do this with 2 pounds of nitrates per acre. It doesn't take much.
Sure.
And then if you keep nitrogen levels low in those first couple of weeks after germination, you develop not 0, small amounts of nitrates, but not an overabundance of nitrogen. The biology will drive the development of this extensive, robust root system. And you get this large root biomass, and you get very good microbial colonization. And now the plant has established that community it hasn't been, you haven't created a drug dependency for the rest of its life. You've set it up. It's like a baby animal receiving colostrum.
Yes.
You've set it up where you have this microbial inoculum. It's now set up for success with this microbiome for the rest of its life. And this is why I would actually prefer to have smaller amounts of nitrogen at planting and larger amounts in the side dress, because it gives us that initial critical several week window to set up the microbiome so that we have an opportunity for greater success for the rest of the season.
Yeah. What about year 3? Do you have one more step, or is that it? And then you're pretty well on your way at that point, John.
At this point, you're well on your way, but also we make all these decisions going forward based on data.
That's great.
Like, what does the data tell us? How
Absolutely.
much can we reduce? How much can we reduce further? Like,